Welcome back to Black Lotus Buds. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Michael, and thanks for joining us.
We're kicking off our 12th episode on the channel where we're talking all things trading cards. And today we'll be discussing fast food, Boros, a faction in Magic the Gathering from Ravnica, and what we've all been waiting for, Sejum's grand prize reveal.
And before we get too far, Kevin, I got to get something off my chest here. You know, I had you start with fast food is one of our segments we'll talk about because a full-grown man, okay, with a beard down to my ankles, all right, an adult, I have this week purchased not one, two, or even three, but I've purchased 4 Happy Meals.
Oh, baby.
From McDonald's.
Way to go. All righty.
Yeah, so, and this is, like, weird. I almost boycotted McDonald's for the longest time, along with a lot of other fast food for price and health and a lot of other reasons. But I decided to break that. There was a McDonald's nearby. I was like, I'm going to get some fries because I love me some fries. Who wants to cook fries at home? It's, you know, if you're not baking them, it can be a mess. So I'm like, let me stop by, and what do I see as I'm driving up? It's a poster with Pokemon. And I knew as soon as I saw that shit what I was about to do, man. I rolled up, and I saw that kid's meal, and it also had Pokemon, and I didn't even ask. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to have one Happy Meal. And I think I got chicken nuggets and fries. I didn't understand what they were asking me about substituting apples, but I ended up with double fries, which is preferable. But
nice.
Yeah, they come with a card pack now.
A card pack?
Kind of. So you get like, okay, I got my Happy Meal, and you open it up. It's this little box with Pokemon artwork on the outside, like a real adult. And I open this puppy up. And I move my juice box aside, and there's this, like, square, like, 6-inch by 6-inch and maybe, like, a centimeter thick box. And I pull it out, and it has, like, a sticker sheet, and then it has a 4-pack, like, weird paper, like, card. It's, like, not like a regular card pack. It's, like, this weird, cheap paper pack instead of plastic. I haven't even opened one. And I've eaten one. I had dinner once that was also a kid's meal. And when I was at work, one of the girls I work with, I was like, look, I want Pokemon cards, but I can't, you know, I'm a grown man buying kids meals. I was like, I will buy you a kid's meal if you give me the Pokemon cards. And
did they oblige?
Yeah, they did. They helped out. They went with me, so it wasn't as embarrassing. But it's cool. There's, I think, 15 cards in there. There's the one card is a Charizard, which I am almost certain, just by looking at it, that it has been previously printed. So maybe they just reprint the same Charizard card at McDonald's, or maybe it's like a commonly used promo. I don't really know, but I've seen it before in, like, different prints, I think.
Okay.
But it's still exciting. I want to pull a Charizard. There's only 15. I don't know the odds. Like, I have 16 cards. You know, what are the odds? It's one of every set and 2 Charizards. You know, one of every card and 2 Charizards.
So so the makers of Pokemon must be, like, running this promotion through McDonald's, where they're actually the ones packaging up the cards and then giving them to McDonald's to pass out with these Happy Meals?
You know, I'm not so sure about that.
It's gotta be, right? You'd think, like...
I mean, it's an official promotion. It's definitely through Pokemon.
Yeah.
But the only reason I'm, like, a little skeptical, I haven't ripped it open to see them. I'm pretty sure the cards are real printed Pokemon cards. But it begs the question, why is the packaging different? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you can feel it. It's, like, cardboardy, not plasticky.
Well, maybe it's because of all that grease with those fries. You know, they want to protect the cards.
It's just the food aged through the packaging.
Yeah, it's probably just.
Or you're saying it needed protection from the grease.
From the grease.
I was picturing, like, it's just like so unfit for human consumption. It's just disintegrating the card pack. So we need something stronger.
No, that's too funny. No, I don't think it's that. But that's cool.
But it was exciting. They're going to be available throughout, I think, late February. So if you got a kid or you're an adult like me that's a kid at heart, they'll have them.
Wow. And then who knows? You might pull that Charizard. Are there any other chase cards you're looking for out of those packs?
I don't think so. I think they're all just random card. I saw, I think, a Dragonite and a Pikachu, but I'm just happy whatever I pull. I'm just kind of experiencing it.
I love it.
I don't typically branch out. I've been trying to shake things up in life a little bit. So, going out of my comfort bubble and getting McDonald's, even though I've diligently boycotted them for so long, it's like, just eat a hamburger every once in a while and relax.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm hoping that there might be a Charizard or two buried in those packs, or just some cool artwork
that'd
cards.
be so sweet.
What if you have two of you said 15 Charizards out of all of these packs?
No, well, there's 15 cards altogether, and then
okay.
one of those 15 is a Charizard. I have no idea rarity. I don't know how it works. But my boss's kid, she said she took and got a Happy Meal first card Charizard, and so.
Oh my gosh! What if there's a Charizard in every one of these packs?
Dude, I'd be about it. I'll take all four, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, you said you were collecting Charizards, and you still must be then, right?
Yeah, man. I have a little binder, and every third page is all Charizards.
Wow.
I'm cool like that.
Yeah, very cool. I don't have my extensive Magic the Gathering collection built out like that yet, but give it a little bit more time. I'm sure I can share some cool sleeve or pages in my binders. I have a Mythic sleeve. That's cool.
Mythic is good.
Yeah, I've got barely one page of Mythics because all the other ones that I have are in my decks.
So it's funny, I opened this binder, and as a matter of fact, I have this card already in this binder. And the date on mine says 2020, and I have no idea what it's from. But it says 25 out of 185. So I think it's from a real set. So maybe they just picked a random Charizard art from a prior set, and were like, this is the one going in the Mickey D's meals. I don't know.
Wow. Gosh, I'm
not bad for dinner,
I'm scratching to ask you to rip one open on air here, but I'll let you open them up in your own time.
Listen, I'll do you one. I will not do that, but what I will do is I do have a Magic the Gathering Foundations play booster, and I'm tearing it open.
Oh, please do. Give us the taste of the ASMR, why don't you? Like you did it the last time. And you were exactly right. Yeah. I didn't hear much of it on my end, but once the podcast got
listen, it's already been done.
Go for
it. It's already
Share it
opened.
With us.
I got a shiny. It's a shiny rare. I'm not even gonna read it. Hold on, I'm going through the rest. I got a second rare that looks really cool. It's like a Hydra plant thing. I have the cat collector. Man, dude, I'm really digging this. I don't normally enjoy Magic cards this much. Maybe I'm just actually reading them and looking at them for a change. Okay, so I think that was it. Were the rares. So let me go through. I was kind of looking at artwork. I'm a sucker for that. So the two big hits. The Hydra thing is called Mossborn Hydra. It's a creature. It says trample. It says 0/0. Is its attack power? 0/0? This creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, double the number of +1/+1 counters on this creature.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That's why it's the Hydra. Yeah. It just keeps sprouting up more.
My buddy has a commander deck in Magic solely based off of Hydras, and boy, is that a beautiful strategy to have.
It seems so annoying. It's like I can see the value in this card because I'm immediately annoyed at the idea of having it work against me.
Yep. Or, now think of it like this. With Hydra cards, there's usually an X involved. And what I love about that is however much mana you have, you're able to fully capitalize on using every one of your mana if you need or want to. So, if it's like X and I don't know, planes or whatever that one might be, you can, if you have 6 mana, there you go. X is 5, and now you're working, you're letting your strategy develop as much as you possibly can as quickly as possible. So I love Hydras.
It's weird because the other rare, I was more excited for it because it's holographic. I put it in a sleeve, but now I'm reading it, and I'm a lot less excited than the Hydra. I mean, the Hydra, it looks sweet too. It's like tearing through a brick wall or something. You can't really make out. I mean, it's wreaking havoc. And then the other is Swift Blade Vindicator. It's like this, what appears to be this powerful female, like, magic knight. Like, swinging, it kind of looks like a sword, but there's like a trail of lightning, killing a couple monsters. But then the attack is 1/1. And it says it does have a slew of properties. It's double strike, so it deals first strike and regular damage. Vigilance, so it doesn't tap when attacking. And trample, so it deals excess damage to the player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if the blocking
but it's
creature
only
doesn't have enough
1/1.
toughness. So the double strike actually then means it's essentially a 2/1. Because it deals that 1 damage that it has in power first before the combat damage is resolved as a whole. And then after that first strike part of the sequence of combat, then regular damage resolves where it then deals its power again. So it's technically a 2/1 in that sense.
I mean, I'm more excited about the Hydra.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if I was going through my cards and I was about to make a deck to battle you, I would be making it around the Hydra.
Gosh.
Ew, there's one that says Macabre Waltz, and it's like some witch who's literally dancing with a corpse with a glowing eye. And she's like all looking at it pleased while its head is like barely hanging like down because it can't support its own. That's creepy.
What a beautiful
That's a
image.
creepy card.
That's a beautiful image. That's awesome, man. Swiftblade Vindicator is very much one that would fit in with the whole discussion of tonight. I mean, we can jump right on into it, but Boros is...
Yeah, what is this Boros? What are we talking?
Okay, so Boros is red and white, and I wanted to bring it up because I've talked about it before. This is essentially how I got into playing Magic. This was one of the very first decks that I played with. It was already a pre-constructed deck, so there was no thought. I wasn't the one involved in figuring out what cards needed to be played. It was just a matter of drawing 7 cards and now playing the game. And Boros is just, I guess the term in Magic, it's just meant for red and white decks. So they are aggressive decks that use red and white cards. And the strategy in a Boros deck is aggression. It's the white is protecting the red is forcefully trying to get you to win the game. So it's like this weird balance of love and compassion and life with the white that is protecting those cards and creatures around you and even yourself.
So, like,
paired with that red, aggro.
Is red always bombardment? Because the one I played on Arena was these goblins. Is that always red, or is red just aggressive in some way?
Yeah, like red is aggressive in every sense. It's not going to be this bombardment. I think that was probably like a keyword that you saw on a card and explained what bombardment means. And that was used in that particular deck, which could be incorporated perhaps into like a Boros style deck. But there's like a very specific term or like way to describe each deck that you're playing with when it comes to like multiple colors. So with Boros, it's red and white. And I looked this up so that we don't have to, and it's a Guild of Ravnica, which was actually a set that came out in 2005. And then I think in 2006, there were two other sets that were incorporating the same style of cards that incorporated themselves all into this Ravnica, which was like, as in Magic, there are many like multiverses and legions of creatures and what they do. So Boros.
So Ravnica is like a set?
So there's actually 3 total sets that were all a part of Ravnica. It was like Ravnica X, Ravnica Y, Ravnica Z. And I could look them up for you, but just trust me on that. Now, because there's so many cards that they kind of build into this, now, 20 years later, we're able to develop multiple strategies out of red and white, and they're referred to as Boros decks. So there's like terms with folklore. I can kind of read you something here. The Boros Legion is the guild of righteous law and fierce justice. The most formidable military force on Ravnica, the Boros, are efficient, self-assured, and zealous in the pursuit of their ideals. They're known for using like fire or life spells. How it works is like there's the red cards and the white cards, and then like the dual cards that are both red and white. Red, that's the color of like speed, impulse, power, like just absolute attack with no regard to your opponent, like being able to stop what you're doing. It's a very easy strategy. It's just get a creature in most cases, or a card that can deal damage to any target right away, and get your opponent to 0 health or life as quickly as possible. The white spells are a lot more of like this defense and life. So there's this kind of like dichotomy in the deck where it's like the aggression and the support of keeping everything that you have alive to prevent your opponent from like turning the tables and now screwing you up. So like white cards are used to protect your creatures. They can protect the player and your life. They can also destroy the other threats and creatures on the board with a lot of destroy cards. So a lot of white mechanic cards are going to be lifelink, flying, first strike. There's one that's called Convoke, which is a fucking amazing one. Convoke is if you have a couple creatures on the battlefield and you have got a card in your hand that says Convoke, what that means is if your creature on the battlefield can be tapped, so that means like you've already played it the last turn, now it doesn't have summoning sickness, meaning it can attack, so it can be tapped. You can tap it to use it for mana. So whatever color that card on the battlefield that you're tapping, so let's just for this purpose say it's a white and a red card. It has both white and plains and mountains in its mana cost. You could tap it and either use red or white mana for tapping it. And then you could use that to play a card out of your hand with Convoke. So I love this cards with Convoke because it opens up, you get more mana. You know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want in the game. You want a lot of mana to be able to get a lot of healthy, full-blown cards out on the battlefield and then attack your opponent and win the game, you know. Red cards, there's a lot more of like a haste mechanic with them, attacking very, very fast. What you just mentioned, trample, double strike, these are all like, as you would expect, they're going to beef up your creature's ability to just plow through any creatures your opponent has and deal damage to the opponent. So the whole combination of a Boros strategy is really just like protecting yourself as much as you can with the white side of things, and with that red side, you're just attacking your opponent to get them to lose, like on turn 4 or turn 3. With some of these ideas, Imodane's Recruiter being one of these cards that came out recently that just really was a showstopper in Arena. In the meta, strategies, everybody loves these cards that can just give all of your creatures power And this one I'm referring to is a 3/2 creature. It comes out in the battlefield. He's got haste. He can attack. When he attacks, all other creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. So now every single shitty 1/1 creature you have all of a sudden is now a 2/1 creature. So 5 meaningless 1/1 creatures that might be on the battlefield that really aren't doing a whole lot of damage. They're only dealing 5 damage if they're not blocked. Throw another power on each of them. Now it's 10 damage. That's insane. Early in the game. So exciting
that's
stuff.
Like unique to Boros.
Yeah, Boros is it's so there's like multiple as the years have gone on, and probably heavily in that 2005 2006 era. There became these strategies that were really focused on like aggro style play, incorporating red and white. And I think they probably at that point, having not really been experienced in Magic at that time, so I'm speaking out of turn here, but from what I've read and looked at, it was like building up these strategies that now are definitively embedded in the game of Magic today. Boros aggro soldier is an idea of a red and white deck. Red and white aggro is another term, which is a little bit slightly different strategy than soldiers. Soldiers are like usually like human soldiers, right? So when you just mentioned that card earlier, this is a human soldier, and the mana cost is white and red. That fits perfectly into a Boros aggro soldier deck. So it's kind of cool that that's got brought up because it really does fit with what we're talking about. And then like white and red aggro is like turn for turn. You're just trying to enhance what you've already done on your previous turn and deal more and more damage so that your opponent really is having a trouble. They can't attack you because they're too worried about blocking what you have coming at them. They can see it. It's clear. There's really not a whole lot of like hidden strategies with this type of a deck. And that's where I wanted to talk about it tonight, because this is how I first got into the game. It was just, there was really not a lot of thought. It's like, what do you have that you can use mana to play to just immediately attack your opponent and force them to decide how they're going to react? Did they take the damage? Did they block and perhaps sacrifice a creature that's blocking because it's going to die? You know, like what's going to happen? And then there's other Boros strategies that incorporate enchantment auras, which we can kind of talk about a little bit later, but where it's just a little bit more of like, it's still aggro because it's enhancing your creature like way more than other cards do, but those are some cool cards that you can incorporate into other decks. So I'm not a huge fan of this like white and red enchantment deck playstyle because there's some limitations. It's like very much like a two-sided coin, heads or tails. You're really not going to have this middle ground. It's either like heavy on the aggro, heavy on the defense, or try to find that like, you know, like perfect combination and balance of both. Sorry, there was a lot of talking there. So, but you know, you got me excited about it.
No, that's good. So, do you have a Boros deck? Like, is that like your go-to, or is that just like what got you interested in Magic?
It was like the first deck that I've played with, man. So just now, so like let's just say it's like been 4 or 5 years into playing Magic heavily, and I recently made a terrible dwarf knight deck. So you can go human soldier, but my human soldier deck is a white and blue deck that I love so much, and it was just up until a couple months ago modern legal, where it would have been, you know, legal to play in any tournament, but I really wanted to keep some of these cards that now they phased out from older sets, and I'm still going to keep them in the deck because it's perfect in my mind for the strategy that I created, or you know, help kind of put together, maybe with a little bit of help from other people that I lost to or were playing against. So the red and white, there's a whole bunch of different strategies you can throw into it. The one that I've made recently, it does incorporate a lot of this Boros strategy, but there's some flaws, probably because I went a little bit too heavy in it just being dwarf knights as opposed to like humans and knights or human knights or something. Like there's flaws, and I'm very quick to admit that, but I enjoy it. I think there's room for it to kind of blossom into something bigger than what it is right now. But I mean, I enjoy that quick paced, a little bit of strategy, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of just like how quickly can I get all the cards in my hand on the battlefield and use them to gain the advantage on my opponent and win.
Don't mind me. I'm trying to digest everything. That's a lot we're learning about Boros right now.
Yeah.
If you had to boil it down to, like, you know the elevator speech, you do like it's like 30 seconds about you to like a manager or some crap. I don't know if I've ever used one in all practical, but if you had to, in 2 sentences, tell me what a Boros deck is, what would you say?
A Boros deck is going to be all about destroying your opponent with spells that deal damage to their creatures, which then allows you to attack effortlessly with no creatures to block and deal all of that damage to the opponent, or racking up enough power in your creatures to, in one fellow swoop, deal so much damage amongst many creatures. And the keyword is many. There's not one creature that's going to win you this strategy. It's many small creatures that can all get buffed up a little bit to beat your opponent. So that's how I would...
Bro, did you read that off, or did you just...
I just...
You just came
off
up with
the
that?
top. Yeah.
That was, like, by far the best synopsis so far. Like, I feel like I understand instantly what this is.
Cool.
There's a lot of, like... So reading, like, the terms off of those cards I opened, I only knew those because they were written on the cards. Even having played Magic, I'm so new that it's like it's the vast knowledge that you're pulling from. There's so many foreign terms for me that it's hard for me to keep track of everything you're saying about this Boros deck.
Got it.
But that synopsis was brilliant. Like, I know exactly what this deck is now.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, across a different spectrum, flavors, but they all work in the same way.
So you're telling me that, like, I can't do a green and black deck that does that operates that way?
No, you cannot. I'm so sorry, Michael. You're not allowed to. No. The red cards, you're not going to find a green card that is Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is and it comes from Lightning Bolt, so I guess I have to give Lightning Bolt its credit. Lightning Bolt was a 1 mana cost spell, 1 mountain, and it just deals 3 damage to any target. Any creature or any, like, player. In that type of sense. Like, that's really the targets you're looking for. Lightning Strike was an evolution. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm having PTSD, dude. I play. You keep saying Lightning Strike and Lightning Bolt, and it's like, in the way it works, you said you just deal 3 damage out, right?
Yeah.
I played sorcery one time with my friends that live around here, and one of the decks just annihilated me. It might not even been me. It might have been my 2 buddies battling, now that I'm thinking about it. But he just kept casting lightning bolts, and they acted in the same way. You would, like, just hit whatever, and it was indomitable. Like, it was just ridiculous. Like, it was like, a lightning strike. Like, what?
Yeah, what is that, like Zeus? You're just coming out of nowhere with lightning just
honestly,
raining
dude,
down from the heavens? Yeah.
As it was happening, like, every turn, you knew what was coming. And, like, it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
So
I think they were, like, sorcery cards. Like, you could cast them, because the game was sorcery, but Magic has sorcery cards that are, like, castable spells. I think it was like a castable spell. So they just they had, like, 3 of them in their hand. So, like, one turn they would use their mana, and it would be like, lightning strike! And then, like, the next round you're like, well, damn, he killed my big monster. And then he would just be like, and another lightning strike. And you're like, damn, dude. Leave it be.
Oh, it's brutal. I mean, the game, you can pair two of them back to back. That's 3 damage
wait,
plus 3 more damage. That's 6 damage.
That's part of the white deck?
That's
for
the red.
sorcery?
So mountain
Red.
is so lightning bolt is 1 mountain that is just deal 3 damage to any target. They try to nerf it a little bit more recently, which is probably like a unknown to newer players and a bit of a weird like predicament to be in, because like standard decks, so these newer decks that are from more recent sets and packs, like you're going to be able to use Lightning Strike. Well, what Lightning Strike is, it's exactly the same as Lightning Bolt. It just costs 1 colorless mana extra. So it's 1 mountain and 1 colorless mana. And I think it's because they've started to really realize the only way to blossom Magic the Gathering in general and incorporate all these amazing strategies is to still have concepts from the past, but open up new ideas and make sure everything synergizes equally and like across the playing field. You're not going to feel like something is just too overwhelming. So they had to pretty much just give that card that was way too good, like many of these older cards, Black Lotus, way too good from the past, and just make it a little bit more difficult to use because it's not 1 mana anymore. Now it's 2 mana. So Lightning Strike is a card that I love. If you're going to build a red and X color deck, pick whatever color you want, green, black, blue, red, whatever.
Lightning strike.
Yeah, white, whatever. It's like you're going to want to throw a couple or as like 4 Lightning Strikes into that deck. Now, if you're playing Commander, again, it's always just 1 card. If it has the name, that's the only card that's going to be in that 100 card deck. So, you'd only throw in 1 Lightning Strike, but still, it's a fun strategy because like with that card, you can just target the opponent. You don't have to deal any damage to a creature, just 3 damage to any target. And guess what? It's an instant. So that's the best part about that. You can just out of nowhere, okay, I'm dealing you 3 damage, and then, all right, there's very little you're going to do. Maybe you counter it, but that's probably going to be 3 damage you're taking. So very, very exciting type of deck when you're talking about Boros, because it's very much just like fast, quick, to the point. Very, again, I say the word like very little strategy in context, because it's really just a matter of like what can you get on the battlefield that can deal the most damage as quickly as possible and force your opponent to like pit their deck up against themselves. Do they have enough to stop what's coming, or are they actually going to take it and probably lose? But then you know what you were just saying, like a green and black deck. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I was just like, it's like I'm used to like even Lightning Bolt being in the red. I'm used to Pokemon. I'm like, red is fire, Kevin. Red fire. Yellow lightning, like these colors aren't matching up with Magic for me. So you're describing this play style that's like, quick aggression, forcing your opponent to make sacrifices in defense, and then you use your white monsters to open up a direct attack, and all that makes sense, but I'm like, can I really not just do that with any deck? So, as a rookie, it just surprises me that that is the case. And that is the basic tune strategy of these colors. And so, I learned something.
Yeah.
That's good.
You could think of it like you could get to the same strategy with a green and a black deck, because a green and black deck is going to be a lot of pulling, like using cards that are in your graveyard to create creatures on the battlefield. And what I mean by this is there's many cards such as Consuming Blob, which is an amazing, terrifying card when you see it. Because they're at the end step of every turn, or on the turn of the holder, the controller. So let's just say you have Controlling Blob. At your end step, before it's my turn, you create a creature that's a 0/1, and its power and toughness added to the 0 and 1 are however many creatures or however many card types are in your graveyard. Look it up. It's one that's like, it really just builds an army of creatures that will overpower your opponent given enough turns. That's where this like red and white strategy is like, kill your opponent before a strategy like a green and a black, building in an army of these. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Honestly, that sounds like a play style I would be interested in.
Yeah. And that's how I started, and that's how I fell in love with it. And then, I've graduated away from it because obviously I don't have like a strong Boros deck. But at the same token, Boros, there's part of it which is heavy on the humans and soldiers, and I've just found my passion with humans and soldiers to reside in the white-blue space. So, plains and islands when it comes to mana. And then, islands adds a little bit more strategy because there's a lot of countering involved. There's a lot of like unexpected, kind of like bluffing type of strategy if you're comparing it to poker. And that just adds a fun element to the game in general. So, having said all of that, Michael, we are jumping now into this or that. Which one
or that.
will it be tonight? We're going with 2 cards from the Boros decks, and that may be found in many strategies of Boros, and I'm not going to say they're found in every single strategy. Keep in mind, this is going to encompass both like standard style of play as well as commander. So we're just going to pit 2 2-mana creatures against each other. So we have aptly named Boros Swiftblade tonight. Okay, so this is this. And here's the rundown, Michael. Creature. It's a human soldier. It's a 1/2. 1 mountain, 1 plains. That's how much mana it costs, just 2 mana. What is its mechanics? It just has double strike. Okay, so it's a 1/2. So in combat, it would deal 1 damage before it then deals regular combat damage and deal 1 more damage. Okay.
Okay. Can you describe it for me a little bit?
The card artwork. Okay, human soldier. This guy is so far in his combat stance. There's blood on his sword. He's already lunging at the next opponent. There's no time for him to react to what's happening. He probably doesn't even recognize he's already working on stabbing the next
dude's in
monster.
A frenzy.
He's in a frenzy.
He's double striking. He's a
Swiftblade, bro.
He got one, he's going for the other.
Bro, he's a Boros Swiftblade, okay? All right, here we go. That tonight. Fresh-faced recruiter. Another human soldier. As long as it's your turn, fresh-faced recruiter has first strike. He's a 2/1. So, if it's on your turn and you've got combat, 2 damage is happening before any damage resolves during combat. After that, he's got no other damage to deal. But he's only got 1 toughness. So 2/1 versus Boros Swiftblade 1/2. Michael, which one would you choose in a competitive strategy?
Wait.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir.
Read the Well, I'll ask you what it looks like in a second. Read what does that card do again?
As long as it's your turn, fresh-faced recruiter has first strike. Meaning that 2 power and 1 toughness that he has, that 2 power is going to be dealt to the creature right away before damage resolves. The other one was a 1/2, so it deals 1 damage and then another 1 damage. This one, 2 damage right up front.
But it's only when it's your turn?
Only when it's your turn, because, if he's blocking, he's just a 2/1 creature. But if it's your turn, he's dealing that 2/1 damage, or, he's a 2/1, that 2 damage is coming in hot. It's coming in heavy. The artwork, rather uneventful. He's got his sword pointed down near his feet. He's holding onto his sword with both hands almost, and he's just looking into the distance with a fog behind him. A mist,
All right.
if you will.
Well, so I just pick the card that I think is better in general.
In a competitive nature, on turn 2 in a Boros deck,
On turn 2.
if you had both of these cards in your hand, I can't speak tonight, both of these cards in your hand, which of these two would you want? Fresh-faced Recruiter, that, or Boros Swiftblade, this or that, Michael? Which do you choose?
On the second, on like turn 2?
Turn 2, you're jumping right into it. Which one do you want on the battlefield for you?
So does that mean like my second turn or the second turn of the entire match?
I mean, that's the same. That's exactly the same. It is. Your first turn would be, turn 1 is always like you play one land and now you can do something. Then the opponent plays one land. Now turn 2 is now
So
you've got
that's
2
what we're
mana.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
What you're assuming is, in every turn, you're assuming you have that much mana. Right? Like
Right.
that's the idea in Magic. You really want to make sure that every turn you have 1 mana, at least in the beginning of the game, up until like turn 5. You want to make sure every turn you have 1 mana to place. You don't want too much mana in your hand. You don't want not enough where you're only stuck with like 2 and you can't get any more. So in this case, on turn 2, you have enough mana to play either of these cards. Which of them do you want? Boros Swiftblade, this, or Fresh Face Recruit, that.
This is really tough, but I'm going to go with that. And I just feel like in the very beginning, it will kind of grief your opponent. Like you have a chance to like just eliminate the monster that they have set up without really any consequence because of that first strike. And it's 2-1, right?
Yep.
So I feel like you can just kind of swiftly get rid of an opponent's creature. And then on top of that, even if they attack you, they'll be able to knock you out, but you'll also take one of theirs out. So it's like early on, I feel like I'd pick that. That's my answer.
I like your well thought out opinion, but I don't love it, Michael. I don't love it.
Damn.
And this would be the only reason why. Little bit of context here. The first, Boros Swiftblade. Although it's only a 1/2, I love Double Strike. In the game, it's one of my favorite mechanics of any card. Because when you play an instant on a creature with Double Strike, it throws off the opponent so much. In many cases, it could be the game-winning move. Even this early in the game. On turn 2, it doesn't have haste, so you can't attack, but he's got Double Strike. Your opponent may hesitate to want to attack because he's worried about blocking this creature. Now, on turn 3, you would want to attack without spending any of your mana right away, because if you have an instant in your hand that gives this creature, for example, +3/+3, okay? You can get that from like 2 mana. So not a whole lot. So on turn 3, you could have that in your hand, have 3 mana on the battlefield, be able to use in any moment 2 mana to give this creature +3/+3, and you could also have 1 more mana to do anything else. A creature with Double Strike can be like this silent but deadly creature. I mean, it's not too silent because they know it's coming. It's going to deal at least 2 damage in combat. But if you give it +3/+3, now it becomes a 4/5 that deals 4 damage before combat resolves, and then another 4 damage. So if that creature is not blocked, on turn 3, you could easily deal 8 damage to your opponent. And this isn't even talking about like trample. If you can find a card that like 3/1 gives the creature 3/1 and gives it trample, something like that. Like again, now you're back into like it dealing 4 damage to whatever creature's blocking it. And if that creature has 4 or less toughness, it's dead. And now the rest of the damage can go to the opponent if it's got trample. So all in all, I think Boros Swiftblade is an amazing card to have on the battlefield. It's great for blocking. It's also great for attacking. And, you never know when you might need to just use it as a regular shitty creature on the battlefield to keep the game going. So I love it. Double strike over first strike, in my mind, is always going to be a winner. But you're not wrong again, Michael. So I applaud you for your explanation of why you would have chosen that.
Well, I should have gone with that, with this, because I think the artwork was superior as you described it. I was really into it. But, I mean, credit your vast knowledge. Like, you see that card, and you know the next card that you're going to play with it. So that gives you that depth of knowledge. But I want to talk to you about the art on a card, too. So, let me tell you about a card that struck me in a segment I want to call Striking Cards. All right, picture this.
Okay.
So, you're viewing the scene from the surface of water. All right? That's your perspective. All right? And the water is deep and dark, but there's a festive glow about the surface you can see. The shining light. And you recognize a bank? Is it a bridge? You're unsure. It's like cobblestone. It's got a rail of metal, as if, a bridge or some sort of walkway. Who knows, but you see in the sky the same glow that you see from the water. The sky is dark, just like the water is dark and deep, but around the lower hemisphere, you see this purple glow from the light pollution of these festive glowing. You've got, what are they called? They're like paper lanterns, I think. You see paper lanterns from your perspective, 2 rows of them on either side. And that's your scene with these glowing lights above. And then I want to ask you a question. I've been describing here a real trading card. And this question is for you and the listeners. And I do want to say that this question, it's either the most obvious thing you can think of, or it's intentionally going to be something impossible to answer. So use that as a hint, listeners and you alike, Kevin. I want to know, what are you about to see jumping out of this water?
A large...
Pressure's on.
A golden archway.
Golden arch.
a large French fry.
Is that your final answer?
Okay. Gosh, you know what, Michael? It is my final answer. I'm. Your helpful hint actually became a point of.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna support you, but yeah, the hint was meant to be helpful. I'm sure some of our listeners got it, but what you see is gonna be a fish. It jumps out of the water. It's got a single horn on its head. And I had prepared this. I had a picture. I didn't even look at the picture the whole time because this card was living in my head, literally rent-free. And so you have a sea king jumping out of the water. From your perspective, you see the water and the bridge and the sky with the lights and the lanterns on either corner of the card art. And the sea king you see from the front. You see its underbelly, its mouth, and its horn in the front, and its fins are all spread out, and a jump with water kind of spreading up as it comes out of the water. And what I found so striking about this card is actually the expression on the Sea King, because it's got this like glint in his eyes, and it's got this like little gap tooth smile going on. And it's like on one note, it's really just a fish, right? Like it's like a goldfish with a horn. It's a goldfish Pokemon type deal. And it looks just derpy. But like for some reason, when I see it, I see this like blissful joy and happiness in its eyes. Like I don't know, it could be different things. Like it just burst into the festivities and it's in awe of what it sees. Or like I picture this like personal depth where like the Sea King was like unsure about going out or like afraid of being judged, and it's just burst out into the festivities, and now it's happy it is, and it's there. And in this freeze frame, it's airborne,
it's joyous,
but it's gonna be plopping down, right back in the water, the second after this image. And so this is a card from Prismatic Evolutions, the new set that came out. I scrolled through and I had intended to do a segment where I talked about art, and I was like completely uninspired by everything. And I was scared. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this segment. And then I saw this derpy little guy, dude, and it was definitely the striking card of the set for me. So
Hell
it
yeah.
was cool. I just love it, man. I love it.
It seems like, yeah, he's kind of like giving you the experience of the unknown. You know, you recognize that he's out of his elements, maybe darting out of the water for a brief moment, a fleeting moment, and what is that followed by? You know, it starts to give you questions. Is he going to be content in his decision? Are other fish supporting him, or could there be, worry that follows him?
I think you like hitting the head on something, because it's like when I looked at this and I was picturing the different circumstances leading up to this card art, I was asking similar kind of questions. I think that's kind of interesting. Like, when a piece of art, it like makes you question things and see different things. I think that's the whole definition of it.
Exactly.
I don't know. And then people like nail a banana to the wall and are like, it makes you question everything. It's like, does it? I don't know. But the Sea King got me, man.
that banana art, man. I read more about that. That was a wild one. Where the guy just happened to just on his way to the museum or something, just buy off of a banana stand at the banana, and they just put it there.
I've seen
tape
like
it there, and then it created a whole entire.
That's right. It was duct tape.
Just boom. There you go. This is
like
my
a
art.
meme
I
I've
got
seen.
about 5 minutes before my exhibit opens, so I might as well just put this here and just, And you've seen other videos probably where these kids who are just having fun. They bring their own things to the museum, and they put it in an exhibit, and it looks cool. And before you know it, now the staff is confused. Like, why is this exhibit not covered? And now they cover this random person's stuff that they brought to the museum as a joke. And now the museum staff is like guarding something that's not supposed to be there because they thought that it was actually part of the exhibit. So
some rich guy is like, "Oh, $1 million."
Yeah, I would buy it off of you.
Dude, and he could have probably had one of the Sea King for like, it's probably like a 50-cent card. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
I did buy a PSA 10 card. It won't be part of a segment tonight, but I'm pretty happy about it. It was a Yu-Gi-Oh card called Chaos Mirage Dragon, and I think it was a 1 of 1. And I'm see, Yu-Gi-Oh confusing to me, man, because it's not like as obvious as Pokemon, where it's like, this is the ultra secret art rare, and it's like, oh, that's the rare one, right? That's the one I want.
So is that what you mean by 1 of 1? You mean like this? There's no like other versions type of thing?
There's only one PSA 10 graded of this exact card type, but it's a 2024 card, so that could just be because maybe it was brand new out of the set or something, or maybe it's because it's just not a card someone would grade. Remember, I got like that Magic the Gathering cat card that it was 1 of 1, and it's just because like who would ever grade that? But I'm like, that makes me even more hyped to have it, dude. And what makes this crazy is I started my journey on eBay and PSA 10 trying to be cheap. Like, I ran out of money. Like, I want to do more in trading cards, but I've run out of money. And I'm like, sometimes I got bills or debt, and it's like I just can't consume as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
But in this case, I ended up bidding $12.50, and I got this card. And it's like,
Cha-ching.
that is just a steal, dude. I'm all about it.
In 2025? Hell
dragon.
yeah. And it's a dragon. Wow. Does he have wings, or does he have his wings clipped?
Bro.
Like, is it like a neutered dragon? Like, what's
I'm
going
sorry.
on?
As the art guy, I'm shamed that I haven't described
I know.
It's
okay.
It's
okay.
difficult. It's not in my hand yet, so I got to go off
You're
of
building
this
up the
picture.
suspense. Go ahead.
It's like holographic rainbow from red to violet, like all the way from the spectrum, right to or left to right. I don't know if that's in the card or if that's just the holographic, but it's like this weird silver purple plated dragon that has almost like shoulder pads across each of its arms. That's exactly, it looks like armor it's wearing. And crazy wild purple hair and a little nubby like piranha face with a bunch of teeth and a red eye. Honestly, it's kind of a weird. Oh, and it has this like maybe scythe-like tail with some there's spikes everywhere. It's hard to describe. It's a weird creature. It definitely, if like there was even a like an 8-inch version of this and it was swimming in the ocean with you, you would like start splat. You'd be like, get this thing away from me. Like, I don't know what this is. It's scary as hell.
Yeah, kind of like a mantis shrimp. If you see those things, the huge eyes and it looks like a normal shrimp in its body, yet it has like the power of God. You're a little bit like,
see,
get this away from me.
This is the opposite. This looks like the power of God. Like this is, you're like, I don't know about this.
Stay
one.
away
Like,
from this one.
That shrimp, you would be like, oh, like wait, and then be surprised. You would not be surprised if this thing did some crazy attack. But it was, it was fun. I was happy. I very rarely get a card for that cheap. I mean, almost never. And I'm sure it's not worth a lot, if anything. But I'm still super happy to have it. And it's first edition. I always think that's something special too, because there's some sort of limited print. But in reality, I don't really know. Whenever I branch away from Pokemon, it becomes a lot more speculation and joy. Like, that's why I'm buying cats and dragons. It's like, that's what's
Get what
most
you love,
important.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've done a lot with these cats. I think you have a cat calling.
You know what? One of the cards I pulled today was that cat lady card. I hope I don't end up like that. It's like, where is it? The cat collector. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cats. 7 cats in the frame.
Is it
8 cats.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it
every
one of those?
time I look,
Yeah.
bro, every time
How
I
many
look again,
triangles
there's another
are
cat.
in this picture? Yeah. You know what? Damn it, there's a larger cat. They all resemble the figure of a cat, so we have to call that the 9th cat. This cat has 9 lives, believe it or not.
I didn't notice. I also got a hollow prideful parent, which is just a common.
Gosh. Well, all this excitement has got me staring at this package, Michael, and
Oh, dude. Well then, allow me, if we're ready for that, allow me to take off here. So, usually, ladies and gentlemen, this would be the time for an exciting segment of Sejum Satisfaction. That's right. But today, I think we did some bonus episodes in our last couple podcasts. As Kevin and I do some development of our segments and things. Yeah. And I want to do a lot of changes. But Kevin today will be opening up the prize that he won after 10 or 11 episodes of playing a questionnaire on PSA cards. And before we get into that, I just want to tell you I'm working on this segment being improved for next week. I want to keep, the essence of being a game show. I want to keep the prizes for Kevin. I want to do better by allowing the listener to play along and answering questions that would be fun for a listener to answer. Multiple choice and a challenge round, just like we've been doing. But I want to make 2 important changes. I want to freshen up the Genie idea into something a little more creative. Maybe something, maybe more flexible. Maybe the Genie was perfect. I got to kind of brainstorm it. But also, I want to be able to make the segments into little 6-panel comics where it's not something you would look or buy. It's not like you would buy a comic book of it. It's more of just so I can have a short with the segments and representation of what's happening in the segment.
The story
for any viewer, and try to get, exactly, the story as I describe it, and also design the segment around that. So it's doing twofold. It's opening up your imagination so you're listening to a podcast, but you can see what I'm talking about, and also engaging you in a show. And I've been working on it here and there, but it's a a lot of hang-ups and a lot of kinks, but that's what's coming up next week on our next podcast. I'll have our first segment of our new and improved Sejum Satisfaction, or version of that. And I guess, since there is no points or prizes for this episode, you'll just have to open the prize that I sent you.
Well, holy bejeeber. I've been waiting for this moment since we announced it.
You know what? Let's save it. Let's.
You know what?
Let's just have you wait a month.
All right, then.
Just throw it out. Just burn it.
I'll put it in the fireplace.
No,
don't. Okay.
No, I'm excited.
I'm gonna take out this utility knife. I'm gonna effortlessly yet ever so carefully.
Have you opened the actual box yet at all?
No, I have not. And you taped it like a motherfucker, so there's gonna be possible
safety first.
Yeah, possible finger cutting and red liquid to be.
I was thinking. I mean, what if the
Here we go. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
What if the postman was listening to our podcast and he was just waiting to steal it?
What's weird is like my mail usually comes with like a dent or like a hole in it. I'm like, are these people like trying to figure out what's in my mail? Like, what's going on here? But Michael, I can say that this package is, the tape has been no obstacle. The listeners are going to hear this beautiful ripping noises.
Be fucked up if it was just a glitter bomb.
Why is this package empty?
I'm now wishing I had done better.
You're like, this was just the preface to the package open.
It's just like a live. It's like a badger. Yeah. It just starts running around your house. And that's your prize.
Collect them all. Collect it while you can. All right. Well, I'm getting excited, Michael. This is really being open right now.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited.
So
I've been wondering how you'll see
before I even open it up fully here now. So remind me. So those episodes, all of the episodes that the listeners have been enjoying probably up until this point, we've gotten to the moment where I won the prize. All of the Sejum was so satisfied. He wanted me to see in glory, in reality, in tangibility, the artwork of this card. Is there anything that you wanted to add to that before I open and reveal what this is?
Oh no, dude! I just want to hear your reaction.
Okay. Well, I don't even know what set this is. I'm only assuming it's a PSA 10.
You could never guess this.
Unless
if you had guessed this, I would have died.
Okay. It says, "Wait, open on podcast," and there's a lot of other stuff going on with this. So that I would assume is what.
So you got. There was bonus card you were talking about sniping on eBay.
Yeah.
And I sniped it for you. But I told you about that one.
Okay.
It was like.
Yep.
The Rising River Glide or something. And then I threw some sorcery cards in there just to keep giving you a taste of that.
Oh my
but the green one that says wait to open on podcast,
God.
that's the prize.
Okay.
It's like wrapped in construction
paper.
It
is. Yeah. It's hilarious. It's like, wait, open on podcast at all expenses. It's awesome. Okay, here we go. Everybody, the listeners get to hear the tape. Oh my gosh, I have to be super delicate with this. I don't know what's hidden underneath the curtain here.
Bro, I'm geeking.
All right. I'm only assuming this is a PSA 10, but we'll see. Oh, shit. Okay, the back of this card says Diablo. Oh my god. All right. I'm going to turn it over in 3, 2, 1. Blizzard Legacy Diablo. Gem Mint 10. Oh my god. This is Diablo.
Bro, I didn't even know that existed.
Diablo.
Like, I know.
Oh my god. It says Diablo inscribed in gold letters or white letter. I can't really tell right now, but this is unbelievable. Oh my god, dude, I'm so speechless.
I was hoping you would like it. I never heard of this
The,
at
the
all,
ch-
and so I was like, I got to see if they have a PSA 10 card of this.
oh my god.
And
The chains are broken above him. Dude, this is so beautiful.
I have a suspicion, and I don't really know, but I have a suspicion it might not be like that rare or valuable of a card. But there's only two of them in existence.
Oh my god. I don't I mean, yeah, I mean, I have one of them in my hands. That's all I care about. I mean, god damn, dude, this is so sweet.
So for the listeners, Diablo was a game that we both played growing up. So it carries this like heavy nostalgia, and like we've never. I mean, I'll speak for myself. I've never been an upper deck like collector of. I think that's like sports cards usually. So I'm assuming they did a Blizzard collaboration, and that this is it. And it's a 2023 card that just has Blizzard, and it's the character Diablo. You know.
Oh my gosh.
So I just wanted to. I figured you were more open to having fun things that you related to in your collection. I'm like so picky with things. It's like, I could have a crazy awesome card, but if it doesn't fit anywhere in my binder, I'll like just throw it in a box because I'm like, I just don't know what to do with it. It's not because I don't love it. I'll just be like, oh man. So I don't know if I would want this in my collection, but I mean,
oh my gosh. I mean, this is now going to be considered as my very first Gem Mint 10 collectible card. I mean, and I just...
Wait, this is your first PSA 10?
Michael, this is like
Bro,
Sejum...
I didn't even realize
yes,
that.
yeah. This is...
I
me a
saw
moment.
you were
Give me a
shopping on the...
yeah.
you were,
And now
you were shopping for them, so I was like, I thought you had maybe gotten into them. That's even better.
Embedded in the package, as you glossed over, you've also included yet another Gem Mint 10 card, which was for Magic, yes, which is what I was telling you. Oh my gosh, I want this. This is a land. This is very similar to the one that I pulled. I just love these alternate full art lands, and Zendikar Riverglide Pathway foil. Beautiful, beautiful card. And to see it in person is fucking unreal now. But I have to take a moment to go right back to the Diablo card, and it's just mesmerizing. I mean, I've never really like understood a PSA 10 in real life. I've never really held one to fully experience it. So yeah, I'm kind of baffled right now. I really don't know what to say, but I just keep turning it over and over and over again. Or even on the back, to the listeners, his description, Diablo. He is the root of all fears, buried deep within mortal minds. He is the nightmare that awakens us, sweating in the dark. He is an entity of pure malevolence and depthless evil. What a beautiful creature Diablo is.
Well, I'm glad you got it. I think the Magic card, I don't have anything like this, but like a Lazy Susan, like at the dinner table, like spins, and you can like pick stuff off of it. If you had like a display for a PSA card, that Magic one would be sick because it has both sides.
Oh yeah, and
so
I love
every time it spins, you have art on the other side too.
Yeah,
it would be a good one.
And you and I even talked about that when we were even mentioning the card when we were discussing it. And it's cool that I didn't realize that their case here would be in fact displaying the full sides like of the card. There's nothing that's getting caught up in like like a QR code or a description or something, the sticker on top. It is showing you the full extent of the back of the card. And I, now that I'm looking at it, that's what the Diablo card is. That's what I've seen this entire time. So, pretty bewildering to finally have this in my hand, and I can't believe it, man. And I'm excited that that I got through Sejum's satisfaction, and he was satisfied to the point where his blessing was bestowed upon me, and I have to credit you for that, Michael. So thank you so much, man. It really means a lot.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad you enjoy it.
God damn it, man. Well, I hope the listeners have had a wonderful time. And I think we definitely did go into a little more detail with some topics tonight that we have glossed over in the past, and we'll probably find more value in these in the future. And I think the segments will continue to expose themselves to the pure enjoyment that we have with the games of trading cards. So on this heavy and somber and difficult moment, Michael, is there anything else you wanted to add to this?
No, that's it.
I'm just, dude. Yeah, I have to sign off, man. I'm just excited right now. I'm just totally in joy right now. So, as always, what a pleasure, Michael. And I'm really gonna have to take some time here to contain myself. So, I can't even wait to look through the sorcery cards that you've added to this. So with that, everybody, rip open some packs, have some fun, and like always, we will catch you next time.